is a map that they do like to play, and obviously that's the case because it's on the board 3 times. They have to have at least put it as one of the 3 maps they want to play. But maybe we're sort of looking into it a little bit too much, and basically we just have to take this as a fresh map, say, okay, hopefully Complexity have learned from their mistakes. If not, well, LG, they're going to be happy to get themselves a double win.
Yeah, no, definitely so. And as we look at this, though, Complexity this time starting on the T side, a little bit of a flip around from previous, so at least it will be a refreshing take on that early on. They can try and cement some rounds here. It wouldn't bode bad for them whatsoever. Looking like it's something we're going for it. Flat rush in towards the B side basically guarantees that plant, something that we see a lot of teams doing. They make their way out, but it's going to be showtime to find 2. Looking for a third already. A great start from him once again. Of course, a key player in the previous map, Def. Going to be bringing him close to Def as it stands, does find that one back as the trade comes through, but Destiny on the flank is going to be the real problem here. Could be the linchpin in towards this round. Spots out Ape, but he's still going to go completely undetected. It's actually going to even start defusing the bomb. It's going to force to rotate back, and as a result, Surreal has to forfeit his position, as does Def, walking out of the open like lambs to the slaughter. They get taken down, and it's going to be the first round going the way of LG once again.
Yeah, and there's 2 ways that you can play around. You go for that sheer aggression, or you stay back. Now, most of the time we have seen Complexity stay back, and I am a fan of the aggression. I like the push coming in, but you do have to make sure there is nobody coming in on the flank, and unfortunately, well, Ape had absolutely no clue. Of course, it was a silenced USP, so the fact that he didn't turn around, maybe there's a possibility that his teammate didn't actually know where he died from, which is quite often the case when you have silenced weapons, so you can't blame him too much for that. The only problem is they have still lost the round. They've got the bomb plant. Now they're going for this smoke setup again. Of course, the problem of playing 2 maps in a row is the things that you do that are sort of surprising. If you do them more than once, they don't really become surprising anymore. So really, this isn't anything too innovative. They've tried it a couple of times.
Yeah, no, I mean, they have tried exactly this a few times. Showtime, he's going to be putting a stop to that. Comes straight up. Pop Dog takes down Ape, and you can already see Complexity now realizing just how hard it is going to be to push into this situation at the man deficit. Destiny as well, just being up and towards these tunnels, does present a prime target for them to try and take down, but at the same time, it's just another means of blocking an avenue of approach. They're going to get completely shut out of B. They have players coming in from behind, and as a result, they've been relegated almost entirely up here towards the toilets area, which is going to be less than ideal. You've got Shiz coming through with that M4, finds one. Now it's all on Uber, and he's got players literally coming in from all sides, so it's going to be a nice, easy mop-up round for the side of LG, as they also managed to convert the second round on the board.
Yeah, they tried to set up with some smokes, but it just doesn't really work. And once the rotation goes back towards that B site, the CTs are already well aware of where this push is going to be coming in. So in terms of how that round went, it has to be said, not very well. But they are coming back with the AKs, and, well, quite a risky round coming out from LG at the moment. They're going to stick with 3 UMPs in play. As said, they're pretty good against armor, so it's not too much of a problem. But you have to look towards these AKs and say, you know what, these are definitely the favored in this round at least. Nade going to be thrown out by Showtime. Should be able to do a bit of damage. In fact, catches only 3 HP spread across all players, so nothing really done. And now he has to be this pivotal player once again. Now, it worked quite well for him previously. He is going to maneuver himself quite well and finds Def as the first frag of the round. The bomb is yet to be planted, but eventually will be going down in the hands of Android. Now, in terms of a flank, there isn't one. They're all coming from a very similar angle. Shiz is going to go in, and he will find a couple of kills, eventually traded out by Surreal, and the long range of the AK will help him out considerably. But again, it will be Uber 1v2.
Yep, Smoke's going to go down, and of course they can start defusing it almost immediately. Uber trying to make his way downtown's going to get dropped by Destiny there with the AK, and Yell on the defuse is going to be able to forage himself a better rifle, dropping the UMP in favor of the AK-47's damage and range superiority. And that's going to be the third round on the board for LG. A very convincing win there, even in the face of what looked like it could have been a round potentially for Complexity. They get the bomb down, they get it onto the site. It all seems to be going well. And then you have the push coming in. I believe it was from Shiz, who just goes straight up the middle. There it is, like we're seeing it now. Finds the frag on Android, who just got the bomb down. Is going to get traded out by Surreal. He manages to get a nice 2-for-1, but then he gets traded out. And ultimately, the trade's going the way of LG. Does mean it's going to be a nice, easy round for them to take. Complexity, thanks to that bomb plant, are going to have, you know, not the worst economy. It allows them to get a few pistols
Bison.
up. And Uber, I can't help but feel like that is going to be a misbuy.
No, it's intentional. The PP buys him V armor. He wants to hit them with 8 bullets.
Or, I mean, he's literally just so incredibly tilted. He's like 180 degrees flipped.
Love it.
Flipped upside down. You know, just like the tables in his house.
Have you not heard of the PP Bison pistol buy?
I haven't, no. Is it renowned?
He doesn't want to use his AK.
Canadian strat?
I think he has 292,162 2 kills on that AK-47, so he wants to get a few PP Bison kills instead. Of course, he will die. Oh, okay. Android is going to be with the D. I'm really disappointed.
Yeah, no, sadly we're not going to be seeing anything crazy on behalf of Uber, who did try and change the meta there. And, well, sometimes the meta isn't meant to be changed. Maybe we'll be seeing that in a future episode of one of the YouTube series that, I don't know, other people do. The PP Bison buy on the pistol. Who knows?
Buff the Bison.
There's always room for it to become a thing. But we are going to be seeing 4 rifles on the side of Complexity now. Plenty of utility for them to try and play around with. And an AWP up on Surreal, which is going to present an interesting change of pace for them to try and work around with. It also allows him to go for this mid-pick aggressively to face off against Yell, who has been a bit of a machine with the AWP in hand.
Yeah, he's definitely been doing quite a lot of work, finding a lot of first picks in the last map, of course. It's kind of hard not to... It's going to get to a point where we don't distinguish between the 2 games. I think that's almost definitely going to happen, but especially if it keeps going the same way that it is. CT side ready, and it's... Oh, wow. Straight through. PKL manages to get that first kill. Surreal is there to trade, and he takes down Yell, so it is going to be an impactful kill. The AWP is lost at the moment, and well, now they have the only one in play. Nice shot from 8 to finish off one more, giving them the man advantage for a little bit here. They are going to go pushing towards the side, but look at the flank coming out from Android. He has to get a kill here at least, otherwise he is just the trade frag, and, well, he will not. He is going to do some damage, and, well, Uber's there as well, pushing out, looking for more, and Uber has brought this one home. Showtime, the last one left remaining. He's been prominent so far, but he's got a little bit more to do.
He tries to face off against Bison, but he does take him down with the AK in hand. Finishes off with the 3K, completing the hat trick, and perhaps undoing the embarrassment of picking up the Bison in the previous round. I think that was the attempt in that one, just to show, guys, I do actually know what I'm doing in this game, by the way. The Bison, perhaps a bit of a mistake. I mean, I say perhaps a bit of a mistake. No, it was a horrible mistake. But, yeah, no, it is going to, you know, almost as bad as ending up going on train twice. It's going to be a Complexity now, trying to make their way back into this. We've got 4 rifles for them to play around with, and an AWP up on Surreal. And LG, the economy wasn't looking actually all that strong as they head into this round. As a result, you've got the Famas up on Shiz. A little bit lackluster utility as well.
But they still got Yell.
Yeah, Yell's going to be able to find that first frag out of Def, and immediately the one-man advantage is going to be going the way of LG.
Oh, he's like pinned to the wall at the moment. Just been shot straight back, left on the trash can. Not going to make any reference to that at all. Of course, it will be a 4 versus 5. CT side left with the man advantage, as said. It will be Showtime individually holding onto the B side. He has been doing very well at that so far, it has to be said, but it can be very difficult at times. The T side really are taking their time at the moment. It looks like Android is going to go for the re-peek over towards the Ivy position, trying to hold things down, possibly bring back what is currently a man advantage for the CT side, but they will have to make their move relatively soon.
Yeah, looking like they want to try heading out A. And, well, it's going to Yell to shut it down once again. Takes down Surreal. Destiny finds one of his own out into Uber, and you can immediately tell the pacing from Complexity just completely destroyed. Ape trying to make something happen out towards A main, but it's going to be Android who has to start things off. He's going to be able to find one, but that is all she wrote, as that round is going to be going the way of LG. They pick up a 5th and maintain a heavy advantage.
Yeah, no, we are just waiting to see whether or not they'll go for too much in this round. Of course, we got Ape with a little bit of spare cash. We could throw down a pistol or 2 into the hands of the remaining players, but, well, just a nice cleanup in the end from Yell doing his job with that AWP, and it is just going to be some pistols. Nothing really too crazy for Complexity. They want to get back on the bite. At least this time they're on that T side, so they only need to ground out a few rounds. But you have to remember, they only got 7 on the CT side last map, so I really want to see whether or not they can actually improve on their T side a little bit. Spray down from Showtime, the Molotov to help. And that is going to be easy pickings at this point. Surreal literally has nothing to play with, just his Glock.
Yeah, and well, last time he did get in trouble for having his Glock out. It might happen again. Going to go through the knife instead. It's a nice skid as well. Got even props for that at least, but you know, quickly running out of things to kind of promote him for right now, as he is only got the Glock in hand, trying to make something happen here, but it's not going to be looking good. Flash. This round should very easily go the way of LG, and Shiz there to find that frag. The 6th round going to be on the board for LG as they go 5 rounds ahead of Complexity. Complexity, though, seeing as they did have to just, you know, bite the bullet there, stomach that one, and God, that sounds horrible. But yeah, you know, they had to forego that round. Ultimately, now they're going to be able to buy up nicely into this one. An AWP in play on Surreal. A good bit of utility on the back of Ape, with Uber sadly being relegated onto that UMP.
Yeah, of course they are. Just looking to get a buy on the board in this round at least after the sort of one and done scenario. Uber is looking to go for an aggressive peek. The shot through the wall. The will show the position of Yell has changed. Showtime in a much more aggressive position, and he'll peek out, and Uber is there to punish. Now that's a rifle for Uber if he can retrieve it. Of course, has to be a little bit careful peeking back into the angle. The rotation from Yell is going to push him back towards the connector just so he can fall away, and then they can go for a retake as a team. The thing is, the push is naturally coming in towards the B side. There's 3 players currently pushed on Ivy, and there's no real defense other than PKL. He's just going to try and hold from a very passive angle. In the meantime, the CT side have actually tried to take some map control themselves by going into A main, and looking like they might have to take even more aggression. Smoke going to fall out again. Death is going to come back in, and PKL is going to be the one to try and challenge this. Already taking a bit of damage. The push comes through from Def. He is burning, but he will survive. Now they look to continue their push.
Yeah, 2-man advantage going the way of Complexity as they make their way out and towards A. Question is, are they going to be ready for Destiny in this forward position? Spots that one, lets him live, and ultimately going to be regretting that decision as Ape, well, his I don't know, Ape senses were tingling, and he just, something funny, is going to be able to find that one frag. It's going to be Def, finds one out of Shiz. Now Yell, last man for LG, 1 versus 3, does have the AWP, and he's been somewhat of the golden key for these guys into these rounds. Still has his preferred weapon of choice in hand to try and make something work. Make his way in towards the A site now. Android coming in from behind is going to be the one hopefully to find this frag. It's actually going to be Def who does take him down from on top of the train, finishes him off and secures the second round on the board for Complexity.
Yeah, plenty of money again for LG to buy back up, so not going to be too much of a problem just yet. It will be an improvement for the T's in terms of their cash available because they do keep players alive. Now, whether or not they actually retrieve the AWP, they do, so that will be coming in onto the next as well. And well, nice round from Def, actually gets a triple kill overall. So we're back into this one. On Yell, going for an aggressive peek, and it's going to be missed this time. He's trapped, and well, PKO is luckily there to actually help him out. So still, the first pick goes their way. One of them always seems to get it, and now we need to see a comeback once more from Complexity, of course. They can't be in this position where they only win 1 round and then fall back away from that position. Spam will come in for Surreal, almost hoping that something will go his way, but so far it's not going to be so good, as again, the CTs get away with an advantage.
Yeah, LG consistently almost starting with the man advantage almost every single time. You routinely see a player falling down over towards Ivy, and then they rotate back up through... back normally through A and try to split out onto it, or just go for the all-out B in an act of desperation. And this round looks to be no different as they do decide to leave Ivy. They do, however, keep Android there for the lurk. Send that bomb on the back of Ape in towards the Pop Dog area to rendezvous with Uber, who has been trying to work out towards the B side. Looking like they're going to try splitting onto A. They have got Android out and making his way through Ivy, and Surreal now trying to head out towards A main. It's going to be actually a nice take. 3-pronged attack coming on in. PKL to try and hold down Ivy. It could be the difference between this round being made or broken for the side of Complexity.
Destiny again. That's the second kill already. 25 seconds left on the clock. And well, this is getting shut down. He's actually going to go for the knife. Surreal gets away with murder in that position. And well, maybe that's a way back into the round. There's so little time to play with for this T-side. Uber sprays away and eventually connects. It will be Surreal to find one more. And Uber, whoa, he's in a 1 versus 2. The problem is he's only got 5 seconds left. And soon that's going to be ticking down 3. And well, there's no chance for a bomb plant. Maybe able to take 1. And that's such a shame. Look at the HP. There was 1 second, 1 HP. But PKL and his 1 health will be enough to win the round.
Yeah, and that's going to be the ultimate kick in the teeth now for the side of Complexity. 2-7 currently as LG start to storm ahead once again. They pick up a round on the back of Complexity's victory, and as a result, the economy is going to be reset on the side of the terrorists. So they're not really going into this one in a very good position whatsoever. The only kind of shining factor is the silver lining, if you will, is going to be the AK up on Uber, but that's really all they can go brag about as they do head into this one. Why is so many words just escape my mind? You keep laughing at it. I keep laughing at it. But there we go. It's going to be a 2-7 scoreline, 5 rounds of difference currently. PKL in towards Ivy once again, trying to start this round off with an advantage going the way of LG.
Yeah, they're in a position again where LG can basically just farm up some extra cash. You can see Showtime. He's got the and will be trying his best to make some extra cash. Now, the avenue of Ivy seems to be one that is a little bit lost on me for the push coming out from Complexity, because every single time they lose a man there, it has not been a place where you go, do you know what, yeah, this has been really successful. They've taken down anybody who's around that area. Yeah, PKL, he's really struggling at this moment in time to hold them off. It's not that at all. Yell has even rotated in sometimes just to get some extra frags on the board, and I just don't think that that's really an avenue that works too nicely for them. Maybe need to go back towards their B-side pushes. Either way, Def will be starting things off. The push from Android will not pay off, and all that really comes in now is just the remaining couple of players trying to pick up an extra frag. Def is actually doing a reasonable amount of damage in this round. Will still drop 2 players, so no real cash farmed up for the CT side. And in fact, their money isn't actually looking too stern at the moment. Wait to see whether or not the Ts can come back with a round. Of course, the problem is now LG, they're on that sort of 8-2 position. We saw this happen previously in the side of Complexity. Maybe they can be the ones this time to pull things back to a much closer position, but they need to start now.
Yeah, I mean, I think they did start a while ago being the issue, and well, it's Complexity currently only 2 rounds to their name. They will be able to buy up into this one. You've got 5 AKs across the board. Good bit of utility as well for them to try and work with. They send, by the looks of things, all 5 players towards this B site. Only Showtime here to hold this one back, but he hasn't been having a weak game at all. Saying that going to be the first of all, so Ape goes huge, finds 2 frags out of the site, and that's all the entries Complexity need. Bomb goes down, and that Molotov's going to find great damage out on a Shiz too. He's able to get some revenge, does find one into Android, but Def there to trade things back. Puts it into a 2-on-4. As Yell debating whether or not to try and head in for this one. It's looking like his teammate just to be backing away. PKL doesn't want to try and risk it. And Yell, well, he's tried to find an exit frag or 2, but now is also going to be opting to fall on back. And that's just because the economy on the side of LG not going to be looking very strong, despite having 8 rounds under their belt. That is, of course, due to the fact that in the previous round, only 3 players survived. And the round before that, only 1. And, of course, those were their 2 wins in a row. So the economy is going to be fairly weak. If we could go ahead and quickly take a look at that, we can see, of course, that you have, what, $3,900 in PKL. They might be able to get a little bit of a buy together here, buy up behind the M4 and the AWP, and it wouldn't surprise me if that is the decision they come to.
The smoke blooms a little bit later. Or I suppose actually it was a T-smoke, so it blooms just about on time as they get themselves that kill. And well, that is going to be another position for Complexity to bounce back. Now, the CTs are actually going to force into this one, even with the weak economy behind it, possibly because they have just been reset in terms of the money they'll make, and all they'll get in the next is 1900, which probably won't allow them to get an AWP, and it won't matter if PKL continues in that sort of fashion. Already picks himself up a 2nd kill in this round, will go up on the train, and that should be the end of him with the push coming to his right, but, well, maybe not. He's actually going to get picked maybe a bit later. It's still alive. I'm quite surprised at the fact that Surreal has just failed to end the life of the player so close to him, and it will even be PKL to take him down instead.
Yeah, PKL just showing his averse to death and makes his way around through Death's slimy grasp, turns around,
Queen.
Finishes him off and takes out Surreal. As a result, it's going to go 3-9. LG looking to be very strong still, as they have some amazing stat-out performances and come back from a round that they force-bought into, let's not forget. So they really didn't have the best setup heading into that round. Now Complexity on the ropes a little bit, trying to get something, trying to get some momentum back in their favor once again. 3 AKs, a Tech 9, and a PT-50 to play around with, and Def does find the first frag, answering the call, takes down Showtime, and opens up that B site. The rotate comes through as Yell with the AWP. It's going to be the lone Ranger to try and hold this one down. Destiny, meanwhile, coming up Pop. Could be a bit of a threat, but Ape ready and waiting with the PT-50. Does find the head, takes him down, and now the push in towards B is going to be made that much easier.
Yeah, really nice start this time for the T side, and, well, there is the man that they've been struggling to defeat so far, PKO. He's quickly rotated in. Molotov will go down, but it isn't going to reach Surreal, so he will get away with that plant. Now we look towards this CT side as they try to retake, but the Ts, they have other ideas. They're going aggressive. Uber and Android pounce at once, and while Android, he has stepped up here to get himself a double in this round. So the 4th round goes Complexity, and now they're looking to try and get 6 with the CT side once again with a sketchy opportunity. They could go for a buy here. I wouldn't be surprised if they did, just off what happened previously, but clearly they've changed their mind.
I don't know. No, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's round 14, so they want to try and save for the last of the half, I guess. And, you know, that is understandable. That way you can get, you know, an actual good, formidable buy-in. Plus, they've been able to win on the pistols before, you know, or on like a bit of a ropey buy. So may as well try and do that yet again. We only seen Complexity 4 rounds to their name. They do keep 5 players alive in the previous, and that's going to be the key into this, because it does mean their economy now is strong enough to allow a buy-in around number 15, no matter the outcome. Surreal, though, finds the first onto Shiz. We're going to be seeing Yell going aggressive. Going to get one onto 8, but Surreal, I don't want to trade it back just yet. Does swap out to the P250, and better late than never finds his second frag in the form of that trade. Android as well, chiming in with one of his own, takes down Destiny. Showtime sort of find a frag out on a def. Now, what does this mean for the side of Complexity? Well, they do find these 3 frags out on towards A, as now the rotate heading in. It's looking like you can see Showtime in towards the connector for the fast rotate on towards B if need be. But with PKL and Showtime both here, they're going to have a nice crossfire setup, actually, potentially try and turn this in their favor. PKL's going to fall. It's all on Showtime, and while Uber is going to be the man faster on the trigger there, takes him down with the AK, aim punch playing into effect as well. And LG, they forfeit 1 round. Complexity, they pick up 5, and it's going to be the last round of the half.
Yeah, and AWP will be dropped over to Yell. It looks like they will just about have enough, but it's still not going to be the perfect buy on the board, as SHZ will be on that Mag 7. So looking to where he'll be playing, it's probably going to be either Pop Dug or close onto B. And, well, we can actually see he's relatively close on B, actually playing a little bit further back on the top of the train. So a bit surprised. Or is he the one? No, actually, he has gone to Pop Dog. I just completely mixed up the numbers. Either way, he is in one of the positions I named, so I suppose overall I'm right, so I don't care.
Yeah, that's a really good outlook on life to have, actually. There we go. Life Coach Tom, ladies and gentlemen.
If you're slightly right, that counts as being right.
We are going to be seeing, however, this round, Complexity trying to exert some pressure towards Ivy once again, somewhere that they have had renowned success. Of course, that isn't true. They have gone there every single time and lost the player immediately. This time they're going to be telling a different story. Android does manage to push up and grab a little bit of ground over towards Ivy. PKL playing a much more passive angle this time around, probably due to the lack of utility on the side of LG. Yell as well has to fall on back and try to reinforce this with the AWP. Now they're dedicating 2 players in towards Ivy alone. It means that it's all on Destiny to actually hold down the brunt work of the A site. Shiz is well in towards Pop. It's going to be in a great place to try and help out, but he's only got a Mag 7. Saying that doesn't matter. Uber's going to fall now. He managed to upgrade to an AK on the back of that. The push in towards the A site, though, is going to be coming underway as all 3 players for Complexity make their way out silently. And Android down through Ivy is going to be trying to open things up. And, well, it's not. It's not going to work out for him.
Really. I hadn't seen that one coming. Ape, he will be able to grab 1. And actually, Def has managed to bring home a 2nd. But that will be it in this round. 10-5 for LG on this CT side. A little bit of a sort of comeback in away from Complexity in the last few. They win 3 out of 5. I suppose that's not too bad. But when you take into account prior to that, they had lost quite a few. A 10-5 half, yeah, it's not the end of the world, but it isn't anything too great.
Yeah, no, not at all. I mean, I keep stuttering, and I'm really. It's like
someone can make a little beatbox out of that.
I'm sure they could. I'm sure they could.
Cats.
It's going to be 5-10 though, and LG 5 rounds ahead on the T side. They can pick up the pistol, something they have had a good bit of success in doing. They could easily try and transform that into a 13-5 scoreline. Complexity looking to have anything but that happen as they stand to potentially reach an 8-10 scoreline at best on the back of the pistol if they pick it up. So it's going to be a very pivotal round indeed. Currently, we are going to be seeing 2 players in the form of Destiny and Shiz over towards B. Destiny now playing the lurk role, makes his way out, just trying to fake the rotate, and we can see that it does work. Surreal now going to be playing in towards Connector, falls back a little bit off of the A site, and actually has a good read on the situation, makes his way back in towards A. They can tell the fake's coming because Uber spots out a few players over towards Ivy. And this could potentially cause a little bit of a shift in LG's strategy here.
Yeah, we're waiting for Uber, really, to see if he can actually hit the headshots as he does in the previous pistol rounds. Been doing relatively well in pistols, at least. We'll try and stop the smoke to give him a little bit of a peak point, and it does look like there is a gap for Android to peek through at least. They are going to be spamming away, but Uber will fall, and now it is down, well, to Ape, I suppose. He helps him out. Android to find 2 headshots, and that's going to bring things back, but Shuz is there. He's now the only one there as he tries to find this one back. He has some Kevlar, and that is about it to just try and hit these shots. Now, both standing next to each other should help for the CT side. It's not like you're expecting a collateral shot with the USP, but you never know. Maybe some things are possible. Never mind. Surreal finishes off the pistol, and Complexity, well, they get the round that they need, but they've got to try and make sure they convert the remaining 2.
Yeah, if they do so, they can take this to an 8-10 scoreline, which is going to be suddenly looking like they could come back from this. Now that they are on the more favourable side, LG do pick up 10 rounds on the CT side. The question is that going to be enough? Because this is a heavily CT-sided map, despite the fact in the first half we saw them find a lot of success on the side of the Ts early on. CT side did look to be something that, you know, they were fairly strong on. However, when we flipped it around, see the different side of the story, they do look to be, you know, maybe not feeling as confident this time around. Complexity as well, going to be playing a little bit better. It seems like they have fixed some of the issues like you were on about, Tom.
Yeah, no, a slight improvement at least, but now they go on to the other side, and they had some stuff to fix on their CT side as well. You have to remember, although they get 6 rounds in a row, they lost the first 5, so the pistol's definitely going to help them out to stop that from happening at least, but they still need to make sure that they're not giving away any more rounds than that, because I think it was actually an 8-7 half in favor of the T side. Now, in terms of the buy, the CTs are playing a very risky game. They've got 4 SMGs and only 1 rifle on a map which is pretty damn long range. Of course, that does sort of benefit versus pistols, but both the close range. And well, Android, he's going to be spamming away after Uber gets the first kill. The rotation is now coming back in, but smart from Def. He predicts this. He stops any rush that can come in by throwing out the Molotov. Of course, playing the long-range game is not really the best idea with the MP9, and, well, he will get dinked down, so really needs some support. Now, they want to try and stop this plant. It doesn't look like it's going to happen, and Showtime will confirm that very factor will be the case. And now, well, PKL, 7 HP. Doesn't really need to go for anything here, because I don't think he really expects to win the round. So in terms of actually staying alive and not giving over an extra $600, that could be quite helpful. However, Uber doesn't really like that idea.
Yeah, and the call for the defuse is going to be falling on Def's ears as he comes in and grabs that one. It's going to be 7-10 as Complexity going to pick up the anti-eco. Now they've got 1 more conversion point left to try and shift. Getting the bomb plant does mean LG can buy up into this round just a little bit, and we're going to be seeing them taking full advantage of that. 4 Deagles now as Shiz buys 1 up last minute, and P250 on Yell to try and make some magic happen. We are going to be seeing straight off the bat Destiny playing out towards A main, trying to use the Deagle to its fullest advantage at long range. He's going to get tagged down low off the bat. Yell as well, finding a little bit of damage early on, but it's going to be PKL to find the first frag as he drops Uber in towards Ivy. Trying to capitalize on that straight away. Does peek out once again, but Android with the flash to force the rotate of PKL away back to grab that bomb. Looking like now they're going to try and execute out and in towards this A site. Def going aggressive up and towards B. Also for the side of Complexity does yield a lot of information. They know whether or not they're going to be coming to B very, very prematurely. Well, with LG's positioning, it is somewhat reminiscent of an A split.
Yeah, the only problem is with their execute, they don't actually have any nades to execute with. It will just be a straight up dry push onto the site. They have to basically hope that they can get that bomb a little bit closer. Of course, they got the bomb down in the last round after a force, and that basically allows them to get these Deags on the board. Of course, already finding 1 kill, but Ape is now playing with the rifle, and that's definitely going to help them in that position, but we're looking at Def, and he's going to come in from behind. Already grabs 2 kills, getting himself some nice SMG money. Showtime will be spamming away and actually finds Android as well. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but didn't Uber have an AWP over towards Ivy?
I don't.
I'm pretty sure that he died very early on with an AWP. Now, that could just be me imagining things, but if that is the case, then, well, it doesn't look like they're going to be able to retrieve that.
Yeah, no, you are correct. He did have the AWP. My memory has just come back to me. And, yeah, no, sadly, the side of Complexity can't pick that one up.
So very costly overall. That was basically what I was trying to get to.
It was a very good round, actually, coming out from LG. They managed to waste a significant sum of money for the side of Complexity. And, well, they do manage to pick it up just by the skin of their teeth. 2 players left to survive at the end of that one. Now it's going to be a rifle-on-rifle buy. 4 rifles for either side and an AWP to boot. We're going to be seeing that on the back of Yell, the outside of LG. And Surreal, as you would expect, picking it up for Complexity.
Well, yeah, because of that very fact that they did so much damage in the last round, that all the money that was farmed up previously has had to be spent. So this is a reset round. Whoever loses this round is going to have to lose their money. Of course, it's not as bad for the T side because they have the loss bonus already rolling on their side of things. So it will take them 1 round to then get another full buy on the board. And of course, they're on the T side, so it's generally cheaper anyway. Oh, I've caught your flu. Either way, it is going to be the CT side with quite a bit more utility. Showtime's not doing too bad, and they still have a couple of Molotovs that they can try and throw in to clear a couple of angles or use to stop the bomb from being defused, which is quite a common ploy over towards this B site. In terms of the defense, again, it will be Surreal rotating in from Connector, and he should be able to hold off the upper position relatively well, depending on where the smokes fall. Now, if they smoke off Connector and then push through, his position is basically useless.
Yeah, I mean, it is only Def that hold it down this push, like you said. Well, Yel's going to be able to open things up. Takes down Surreal, who was the player to try and back him up in Connector, leaving it all on Def to hold down the site. Sadly, Shiz there is going to be coming out on top. Finds that frag, and as a result, the B site completely foregone now. Uber, the only kind of ray of sunshine in amongst the darkness, is able to take down Destiny, puts it back into a 3-on-4. But that's it. Complexity, they've already made the call to go ahead and save and just allow LG the freedom to pick this one up. That is just because the economy for the side of the CT is going to be looking incredibly weak. And of course, if they can save up all 3 of these rifles, the next round they should be able to field a fairly competitive buy.
Yeah, they should be able to drop a couple of FAMASs at least, or something along those lines. Maybe they'll get an in play just so they can get some utility, which is, of course, very important on train for slowing things down. Of course, the main thing is they have to keep these weapons, so they can't risk really throwing them away. And it looks like Showtime has maybe just thought about this and gone, do you know what, our money isn't particularly good either, so let's fall back and just make sure that we save everything as well.
Yeah, I mean, they want to be holding on to as much as they can. You can already tell now they're dropping the FAMASs, and as a result, we're going to be seeing quite a bit of utility on the side of Complexity. So the save there, very beneficial here in around number 20. LG, they're going to have everything they would need. Plenty of money left in the bank as well for round number 21, as well as having utility across the board. 4 rifles and the AWP up on Yell. This time around, Def in towards B, looking like he wants to maybe potentially try and go a little bit aggressive in towards tunnels. LG not going to be there to answer back just yet. I believe they do have Shiz to try and watch the angle. Smoke's going to go down though, and this could be the opportunity for Def to try and make something happen, but he's just going to be hanging on back, looking to try and play it passively. LG, meanwhile, spreading out across the map, trying to exert some pressure in towards tunnels, as well as watching the Ivy play. Complexity not going to be giving them any frag early on, as they do just sit pretty and play passively on the sites.
Yeah, very slow play coming out at the moment from the T side. No real indication as to where they want to be going, because they have players currently pushing over towards B and players over towards Ivy, completely on opposite ends of the map, as far away as you possibly can be. Now, in terms of Uber, he will throw out a little bit of utility to try and stop anybody getting in. And in fact, that's actually all he had, that flashbang and the smoke. So coming down to the 45-second mark, all it really comes down to is that Molotov and Def. And over towards the B site, it does have its value, but unfortunately they're not going to be going in that direction. The rotation seems to be coming back towards Pop Dog, and looking like they're about to hit this A site with 30 seconds left on the clock.
Yeah, and Surreal being away from it in Connector, although it does allow for the fast rotate, now making its way back in towards A. And Def as well are going to be actually playing from this Connector standpoint. So suddenly what was looking like it would have been a very bad situation for Complexity has become a very good one indeed. Def now can rotate in swiftly, and that's going to come in handy. Showtime is going to trade things out. It's going to go 4-on-4. The push still underway. Surreal trying to find something with the AWP. Doesn't manage to find anything just yet as the trade's going back and forth. Finally chiming in with a frag. Looking for a second, and he picks it up. Takes down Showtime. Meanwhile, Uber in towards Ivy is steadfast, to say the least. Picks up a frag of his own and just completely locks down the split, shutting down their options and leaving no choice. And Complexity, as a result, pick up a 9th round on the board.
Yeah, no, nice work actually from Def there to just keep that Molotov, because the fact that he had that so late in the round did mean that they could rotate away and then throw it if there was a rush coming down ramp. So a very smart decision from him to keep that utility so late into the round. And Bob, when it came down to the push, it was very much scripted. Now in this round, they have forced back up, but Surreal is knocking them straight back down. Android will be traded out for that very nice double coming out, but Destiny, hey-ho, he's brought it back to a 3 versus 2. Uber still with the AWP in hand. Def with plenty of utility for this retake. The bomb yet to go down, but there's so much time for LG. They've sped their pace up quite a bit. They were not having that sort of run out of time round again. And now they're going to have decent afterplants ready for this position. They've come out. Def should know that there's a bomb planter as well on the site, so has to know roughly where one of the opposition is, but he doesn't check. He doesn't really think about it, and that means the PKL is going to bring things back and leave Uber alone.
Yeah, 1 versus 2. Bomb ticking away, and sadly can't land that shot. PKL comes up ahead, does find the headshot, and manages to secure a 12th round on the board for LG, right when they needed it as well, because the economy on the side of the Terrace was looking to be a little bit low. It was dwindling a little bit, and thanks to the thanks to the win, they're going to buy up very comfortably in this round and potentially the next. We're going to be seeing Complexity forced onto an eco, and as a result, LG, they should be able to convert a 13th round on the board.
Yeah, this seems to be a big problem for Complexity over all the maps that they've played today. They always seem to be reset at pivotal moments in the map where they get themselves a win, then they lose the next one from like a quick play or something that involves some pistols or a weak buy from the other team. We saw it in the Immortals game. We're seeing it now in the LG game, and that needs to be something that's fixed. They can't keep losing to weak buys or fast plays when they have that much utility to slow them down early on. It really is becoming quite a bit of a problem for them, and in terms of this round where they're now reset once more on the CT side, and well, you have to sort of look at the position they're going to be in. Going into the next round, they sort of get $1,900 on their buy, and well, it's not really going to be enough to even get a decent buy off that. Yes, they'll have sort of 8 with some reasonable money. Surreal is not going to have the cash to get anything near an AWP, and this may actually be a double eco situation for the Complexity side.
Yeah, and if they do have to double down, that's going to be a horrible pain for them. Shiz, they're going to be opening things up. Does take down Def in towards B, and that's going to signal the push as the rotate is already fully underway by Complexity. Sadly, LG not committed to this as much as Complexity are reading into it now, looking to make their way in better late than never. There are going to be 2 players over the side of LG, very aggressively pushed up in the form of Shiz and Destiny. Destiny all the way in CT spawn, getting a little bit confused as to what his identity really is, switching over to the other side, which is always good to see. And Complexity, well, there's only 3 players left. They're going to do a little bit of damage out on towards Shiz, but that's going to be it. Looking to try and hold on to these oosps for some strange reason. Don't want to give more money away in the form of SMG frags. Both try barreling down in towards Pop and Showtime. Well, he's going to put a stop to that. Not a fan of them being huddled so close together. Finishes them both off, and now it's Surreal. 1 versus 4. Has an oosp in hand, and, well, does find one on the Shiz. A nice little headshot to try and, just a little parting gift on behalf of Complexity, but now they know where he is. It's going to signal him off to the remaining members of LG, and you can already tell the flank coming in from Yell. His life expectancy right now is incredibly low. Saying that, though, he's going to defy all odds, picks one up on a Destiny, and there's Showtime. Finally able to take him down. It's going to go 9-13, and LG 4 rounds ahead.
And they're going for it on the CT side. They are going to skimp. They'll just about get rifles on the majority of their players. Of course, no head armor. Def will go for the UMP, so it's just about going to be enough. And Surreal, in fact, getting those extra kills actually did play a part in him getting a buy on the board. So, well, a little bit more than a parting gift, actually a helping hand for Complexity to get this buy. Of course, we look at Android. He's looking to take this aggressive. They don't have much utility, so this is their play. He finds one. He's got 14 HP and will fall back with that man advantage. So nice work from them so far. Funnily enough, he's actually one of the players who did have utility, so quite a risky play, him going in aggressive, but it pays off, so I'm not going to hit on it too much.
Yeah, it does net them the 1-man advantage, perhaps most importantly. You can already see they've taken a little bit of a different stance this time, LG. Having for once playing with the man disadvantage. Just doing what all teams seem to be doing at the time, where if the going gets tough, the tough just go over towards B.
Yeah.
And they're going to be trying to make their way in now. There is Surreal, though, and Def to try and hold back the tides of LG. Def going to find the first with the UMP in hand. Looking for a second. Does good damage, but it's Surreal to pick it up as Def is going to be taken down, biting the dust. It's going to be a 2 versus 4. The push coming away, and 8 through the smoke finds good damage. And now LG, they grind it to a halt. Only 2 players left, and the momentum has been completely sucked out of this play. Yell with the AWP in hand, 10 HP, trying to find some smidge of an entry in here, just trying to get his foot so much as in the door, but Ape doesn't want that to happen. Picks up another frag into this, and, well, it's all on Yell. 10 HP, an AWP and a dream.
Yep, it will be Uber to finish this one off. Surreal gets the AWP as well, which, of course, for him is a huge improvement on the M4 he was using. In terms of the Ts, well, they're going to get 1,900 next round. That's not going to help them too much, but it would be a buy. So it seems like they are actually going to go for somewhat of a save. So clearly they're feeling that the AKs are going to be the more prominent than just forcing up with what they can in this round. In terms of the CT side, they are doing reasonably well. Now, they want to get themselves a clean round, something they have struggled to do versus these pistols. So really looking to see whether or not that is going to be the case. You have a little bit of Kevlar behind Destiny, and in terms of the remaining players, a couple of Deegs, which can, of course, deliver a kill or 2 every once in a while, especially with that one-shot potential.
Yeah, Pop Flash is going to be trying to get Uber in towards Ivy early on to just completely negate this pressure that is being applied by both Yell and PKL. Meanwhile, the other three remaining members of LG try their luck in towards B. This time, though, Surreal going to be the one to answer the call. Does just completely rip Showtime limb from limb. And as a result, it's going to be a 4-on-5 now. They've fallen back from B. They've realized it's a terrible idea with Surreal being there with the AWP in hand. And now rerouting over in towards this A site to try and make some new progress. All 4 players here making their way out. We're going to be seeing that PKL is pinned somewhat in towards Ivy. So he's going to be completely made redundant. Yell's able to get one. Destiny is going to fall, so it's still the man advantage going the way of Complexity. Shiz out on the side, trying to find himself a pistol. It's going to get taken down in the process. As we're switching it out to the USP, does take him down, and then Uber to finish things off. It's going to go 11-13 as Complexity. They pick another round up on the board, and are now only 2 rounds away from equalizing this out.
Yeah, they're on the favored side of the map as well. In terms of their CT side so far, it's not been too bad, but it's definitely been backwards and forwards, and a lot of the time that does come out with the T's on top. Luckily for them, they do make it work with a bit of a weaker buy a couple of rounds ago, and that has given them an avenue to play off of course, the T's. They just saved to get back in on a buy in this round. They're taking quite a bit of damage, and they line up. Surreal doing a hell of a lot of damage, pouncing away with that AWP. Pouncing was not the right word, but it doesn't matter. No. He's hitting all of the shots at the moment. 3 players lost, and Surreal looking to just clean this one up. There's still a few more players to find. Destiny, well, he's the last one left standing, and he will finish off Surreal at least, dropping that AWP, and, well, they've already retrieved a different one, so don't want to opt for the double AWP.
Yeah, LG now calling in their pause. Well, I'm just going to ask you, Tom, do you think this is a tactical or a technical?
Oh, I imagine it's tactical.
Yeah, no, okay. Yeah, it is going to be a tactical pause for LG. Which, well, at least I hope it is. I'm just saying that with 100% assurance, but I mean, I can't imagine anything breaking at this point other than their hopes and dreams. Ooh. But yeah, so it is going to be a 12-13 scoreline. They've called it in at just the right time. Just, you know, they want to try and prevent Complexity from equalizing it out. They haven't left it too late. There's still, you know, a good, 5 rounds, active rounds to be played out for them to play around with. And, you know, it has left them in a good place to kind of have the time to adjust on the changes that they do make. The economy on the side of LG isn't going to be strong this time around, so the decision isn't going to be about this round. This one will just probably be, you know, one where they try to get the bomb down over in the B site.
Maybe by 2, and, down to about 2K or
yeah,
something.
And then we'll just see this round kind of be a bit of a throwaway. If they can get something out of it, then that's great, but it's probably going to be for economic damage and the bomb plant. It's all about round 27, and that's where we're going to see the changes that are being, you know, relayed now, the alterations to what it is they've been doing. That's when we're going to see those come into fruition.
Well, to add to that point of with them going for a bomb plant and them going for like a couple of kills, on the Complexity side, they want to deny that bomb plant and deny any kills. That's going to be the big thing for them, because although their economy has improved, they've got 7,600, 7,300, 4,450. They still have a couple of low players. In fact, Android is looking to make that extra money in this round. So you sort of want to talk about the fact that just in case they do lose one of the next rounds, because they're not the best team at always stringing rounds together, just in case they do, they want to make sure they have plenty of cash to buy everything they want, including utility. So a round like this not only can do that, but it can also be a little bit of a confidence booster.
Yeah. And whilst I know that LG are ruining Complexity the same way Immortals did earlier, it doesn't really make them the same team. But sadly, you know, that's something that I'm sure is going to be all good. But it's, yeah, currently LG, they're just trying to try and figure things out, like you said. It's also going to give Complexity some important time to discuss things, trying to get that all sorted. And we're going to be seeing the unpause coming into effect. 1 round the difference between.
Is it bad? I didn't even notice
right
that.
now. I mean, yeah. No, well, in all fairness, we've been looking at the other. We've been looking at not the stream PC for the time being, so you can be forgiven. But yeah, it is.
It's the wrong one.
It's 12-13 currently. Like we say, 1 round between these 2 teams. And LG looking to carry the legacy of, well, I guess their Brazilian brothers forward, as we saw earlier, by just completely decimating Complexity, which seems to be what everyone's doing nowadays.
Yeah, maybe it's a Brazilian thing, or maybe it's just a thing. But Complexity have strung 3 rounds together now. As said, it is just going to be that slight buy down. A couple of players with some extra cash, 2,900 will be coming into the bank account. Plus, maybe more if they can get the bomb plant. Of course, in terms of the B side, it does look like the CT side are ready for this. And while they've already got Android ready to rotate as well, 3 players over towards Ivy does suggest that maybe there's somewhat of a fake coming in where they just basically run into the hands of this SMG, which would be very nice for them. already. One player falling out. I think this is going to be, that's meant to be the fake on the fake that forces the rotations, and it is actually working. That's brilliant. They throw out one player to almost say, okay, this is our fake, now the other push is our real push, and then Yell jumps in. I am loving that strategy.
Yeah, I could tell.
I am loving that.
You can physically hear the happiness and excitement in your voice.
That was so good.
Yeah, it's all in Yell. Sure, it's a 1v5. He's only got a Glock out, and it's not going to work, but they get the bomb plant, and that was all that was about. That was the sole objective of that round. Invest nothing, get bomb plant, reap bare dollar, rinse, repeat for the next 10, 15 years, and you're sorted. It's going to be 13-13 as things do get equalized on out, but LG, they get plenty of money from the previous round, and now this is where we see the decisions that were made in that TAC wars. This is where they see if, you know, that's what they needed.
That's maybe a little bit too happy, I think. I just really enjoyed that strategy just to get the bomb plant, and it pays off. They get a lot of nades, they get the AWP, they have everything they want going into this T round. Of course, Complexity, they still get the round, they still get to keep it nice and clean and make some cash off the SMG as well. So it's not too bad for them. They just get a little bit bamboozled going into that round, and, well, now it will be a 13-13 position. They're on that CT side. They have everything they want as well. So now it just comes down to who has the better buy and who's going to come out with the W.
Yeah, PKL making its way from behind. It's going to be dropping the bomb off towards, I believe that's Shiz. So as a result, you can kind of tell the direction Ishran's going to take just off of that maneuver alone. He's, of course, playing over towards Pop Dog. It's almost reminiscent once again of potentially this A split coming in. You've got the lurk as well in the form of Destiny in that B site, something that we've seen them do a lot. Smashes, flashes, and smokes, not the two combined, being thrown out in towards the A site. And well, that's going to be the three para team players of LG making their way out now through A main with the AWP on the back of Yell to try and start things off. They push up through Pop Dog and now going to be faking on towards B. Sadly, it hasn't been able to trigger a rotate just yet. Surreal, who was playing in Connected, now has dedicated himself on towards A. Def is going to find one and it's going to go down, but now they have full control of the B site. The rotate is going to be fairly fast though. From Complexity. Destiny, though, is very aggressively pushed up. Going to be able to find damage on Uber and takes him down. Showtime chiming in with one as well. And now it's all on Android. 1 versus 4. That tactical pause has paid off brilliantly for LG.
Yeah, they've come out with a couple of, like, good tactical rounds as well. Like, the way they've been playing a lot of the time has been more pug style, but the way that they played the last 2 rounds, at least, the aggression from Destiny was just so smart. It pulls out any sort of position to come in from behind. Yes, his teammates do the damage anyway, so it's not too much of a problem, but they basically just take over the whole of B, and, well, Android now, he's looking to try and save his weapon. Isn't in the best place at the moment. There is a chance to actually finish off Destiny as well, which could make things at least a bit costly. Doesn't die to the bomb, so not going to follow in the footsteps of Uber. But it will be the round for LG. They're back in the lead, and they're back in the game. But Complexity still have money.
Yeah, there is still going to be plenty of money on the side of Complexity, actually. I mean, they win the last 4 in a row. And on the back of that, I mean, on at least 2 of the rounds, they kept at least 3 of the rounds, they keep 4+ players alive. So they're going to be very well endowed economically. Coming into this, like LG, they're trying to maintain this advantage and try to reach match point.
Yeah, of course. We look towards the T's once again, see if they've got anything else to throw off Complexity and their holds. Quick push will come in. There's still a little bit of presence over towards that B ramp. The bomb still down at the moment, so they haven't really made a decision on the direction they're going to go. Android seems to be almost getting towards that decision of using the Molotov, but he does keep it a little bit longer. And one thing to give props towards is Complexity have been pretty good at holding onto their utility to the right time, especially Def on the B site, and well, that's been crucial. Last round it didn't really pay off, but as long as he can continue how he hopes to go on, then maybe there's not too much of a problem there. Molotov will go down onto the site. There's still utility as well for the T side, don't forget. They have 3 Molotovs to play with, and well, now we wait to see what they're actually going to do. In terms of the push, there's still a couple of players over towards that B site. It seems like the bomb is going to go rotating around. They're throwing some utility out towards the A site, and while the rotation this time hasn't been pulled in, Def, in fact, is going to go back towards the B site. The push from PKL may try and bait somebody in, but they're not buying it at all. This time they have read it, and let's see if they can do a little bit better.
Yeah, Def going to go down this time, unable to pick up even a single frag. Surreal really has to try and make something happen here, but he can't connect the shot. Bomb's going to be going down. It's a 4-on-4 for the retake. Well, it's been ticking down for a little while already. Surreal going to be flicking out, gets taken down. The trade's going back and forth. It's a 3-on-2 now in favor of Complexity, but saying that, Yell's able to chime in with one on the back of the AWP. Showtime on site has 2 players to try and find. Meanwhile, his teammate in the form of Yell has fallen back to watch the bomb from a very passive angle. Ape shooting his teammate in the back of the head. Not ideal here. It does take him down to 58 HP, and that's going to make it all that much easier for Showtime as he just looks to hold down the bomb and buy as much time as possible. Finally, Uber finds that frag. The Molotov's going to come out, though, and it's doing so much damage. He's actually backed away, and Ape finds the frag, but there's not enough time to get the defuse. And as a result, it's going to go 13-15. LG, they arrive at match point. And in what a spectacular fashion as well.
Yeah, that round was really close. It seemed like the CT side did have the read on it at least. They didn't fall in for the bait at all. They were just ready and waiting. Def rotates back in towards the B site after the fake doesn't pay off. And you go, okay, this time, Complexity, they haven't been fooled. It didn't matter. The frags just go the way of the T side. They managed to hold things down. We see Surreal miss a shot. Ape, he does do his best, but it just wasn't quite enough. They at least keep some weapons forward, though, to buy back into this round. Android, he will have to skimp and go for the Mag 7, but we still continue into this one with a reasonable buy on each side.
Yeah, the Mag 7 and a little bit lack utility on the side of Complexity really being the only sort of major hurt they're going to start to feel. LG, once again, spreading out early, trying to take control of the map, and it's been working out for them previously. No reason for it to not work. Side Death trying to go aggressive, and while he's able to find one frag on the back of it, no one there to trade, and that's the early advantage that they needed. Android over in towards Pop, tries to spot something out with the Mag 7, but it's not going to be working out. He's just sitting pretty for the time being, biding his time for if Shiz makes his way down. It is going to be the man advantage, though, going the way of Complexity, something that they have needed to grab this time around. Showtime in towards Ivy, trying to get his lurk on. Not going to be disrupted just yet by Uber, who is playing over towards here, taking this fight a lot more passively than usual, and that smoke is going to render his position useless for the time being.
It does look like there's about to be an A hit coming in, though. The smoke setups have been thrown. They are making their way slightly in towards A. You're going to see the push coming in mainly from Showtime at the moment. The rest of the team are taking their time. Of course, there's still the Mag 7, and that's going to do the work necessary. Now they don't really have the hold. Showtime will grab one and able to push, but Yell is going to fall. That's the bomb down with seconds to spare, and PKL, he's now fighting this one in a 1 versus 3. He's got no time. He has to do this so quickly. 12 seconds left on the clock. He manages to grab one. Surreal, well, crosses over possibly at the wrong time, but it doesn't seem to matter. He's holding the angle. Def will finish him off, and we are going to the full 30 rounds. Complexity, they're not out of this just yet, and oh no, LG's economy, where has it all gone?
Yeah, well, the economy is going to get reset. In the previous rounds, 2 CTs alive, despite LG taking it. And, you know, in the round before that, 1 CT alive, 2 LG teammates were able to keep their guns, but that's really going to be it. So into this one, it is a force buy on the cards. Tech 9s across the board, a little bit of utility and armor on the back of all 5 players to try and make this work. This is a last-ditch attempt, though. They really have to try and do this. We are going to be seeing overtime.
Yeah, if you didn't think you'd had enough train as it was, whoa. Let me tell you, there might just be a little bit more train on the cards. It is going to be this push coming in, though. They've taken a little bit of map control, but the problem is there's so much utility on the CT side that every time they try and push, they get shut down. The flash will catch one out, and through the smoke, Uber hits the headshot, already getting themselves the man advantage. Now the bomb and a couple of players are still on that B hold at the moment. They're not really going anywhere at the moment. Yell. Well, he's going to spam away, and well, it's Uber to be dropped, so the trade has come in over towards that Ivy position. We are looking at the push now coming in. Def is the man to hold it down. He's been good so far. The Molotov will be thrown out towards the site. He finds the first, looking for a second, already giving his team the man advantage. As PKL pushes towards him, it will be Yell to find one in the meantime, but he's just the flank. Destiny grabs another, though, and actually Yell, he's found one more. This is all down to Surreal. He's got to try and hold this one off. Try and save it for his team. He's got no more utility. That was it, expended. He's looking to pick up the rifle, but he actually misses it and will just go with the USP instead. He's got to try and get around the back. We're really looking at Yell at the moment, and whoa, he's going to go and try and tap the bomb. Try and bring back Yell. Try and tap away. Go with the bomb, and actually Yell, he's not buying it. It's going to have to be a straight out defuse. Yell will throw out the Molotov, but that's not actually going to stop him. The defuse is going to come in, and actually, it's LG to just take it. Jesus, that was close.
That was so incredibly close. We nearly saw more train, which would have been fantastic, but it does mean